Hello everybody and welcome to a new video here on the channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day, night, morning, evening. Whenever you're watching this, I hope you're feeling absolutely fantastic. As you can tell, positivity is paramount in this video. Because I've noticed pretty much every FIFA 19 video I've done completely negative or me essentially barraging EA. So I thought, you know what, we'll get a little ray of sunshine in before FIFA 19 comes out. And 5 new things / features. I use the word features lightly because are they really features? Probably not. But we're not going to moan. We're going to stop myself before we get anywhere near to a rant. And we're going to go through 5 things that are in FIFA 19 and that will make the game better, will be enjoyable, and will be something to look forward to, essentially, for FIFA 19 when it comes out at the end of this month. First things first, might as well get the obvious one out of the way, first. Champions League and Europa League, and obviously the UEFA Super Cup as well, are finally into FIFA as a series. We've been waiting for this for years. We've been asking for it for years. It's been with Konami for a long time. Up until now, FIFA finally got UEFA licensing, and it's really good because the one thing I'll give EA credit, or the people that make FIFA credit, is in terms of presentation, they nail it. They absolutely nail it. You think about the Premier League from I think we've had since 2015 now. They've obviously La Liga, which we'll get into in the future, later on. But in terms of making it look authentic, like it's what you're watching football on TV, EA nail it. They've always nailed it. So the fact they have the UEFA licensing now is a really good thing, and as much as it's a pain in the arse that they're so deluded to think that that can be classed as a new feature in the game, it is still a good thing nevertheless. The more licensing the better, and the UEFA Champions League is the pinnacle of club football, so they've got the biggest of the best they can get there. So that's obviously a brilliant thing, and I really look forward to seeing how it looks on FIFA and playing it for the first time. Now the second one kind of follows off on this in terms of the whole sort of licensing, and that is the La Liga licensing. We're getting 16 new grounds. The broadcast package, I don't know if it's been changed at all. They already had that. They might have tweaked it a little bit, and loads of head scans. As well as that, I believe Liga 1 is getting the broadcast package, similar to what we have with the Premier League, Bundesliga, and La Liga, of course. And so is Serie A, and also the cup in Italy. I can't remember what it's called. Shit. But the fact we're getting more licensing, and obviously they're now really well covered for Europe. I think they've had the Premier League agreement since 2015. As I said, all 20 grounds. You've got the TV broadcast package. You've got head scans at the time of it being made. The head scanning part has sort of fallen a bit on the game as a whole. You've got La Liga, which was added, of course. It already had the broadcast package. It's now getting stadiums, getting head scans, similar to what the Premier League has. Obviously, without one pretty big omission, which I don't even think I need to mention in terms of the stadiums. The Bundesliga obviously has about 5 or 6 stadiums, I believe, and it also had the broadcast package. And now we're getting the 2 other big leagues in Europe, the French League and the Italian League as well. So they're well versed in terms of broadcast packages, and again, presentation, they always nail it. I'm never going to berate them for presentation. They always get it like perfect, pretty much. So the fact they've got this is a big deal, of course, and hopefully, obviously not with FIFA 19, but with FIFA 20, this will lead to more grounds in Italy and France, because I made a stadium video about a few months ago now, and I did mention in that especially, obviously this was before the La Liga deal was announced, but Spain had an embarrassing lack of stadiums. It had, I believe last year, it had only the two Madrid stadiums. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was literally just the 2 Madrid stadiums. France only has 2. They only have Marseille and PSG. So I think France and Italy as well has only got a few. I think the next thing for FIFA 20 is France and Italy need more stadiums. I'm not necessarily asking for like the same with the Premier League and the La Liga where they've got all of them, but at least sort of 8 or 9 I think could easily get on the game. They are good enough. Maybe a couple more in Germany as well, just to make the game again, that more authentic feel. The less teams using Ivy Lane or Town Park or whatever the shit they're called, the better the game feels to play. So hopefully that is something we'll get in the future. Now, number 3 is incredibly small. However, it's something that lots of people, including myself, have wanted for years, and it is one of the only real changes in career mode that I've looked at and gone, oh, that's good. And that is the fact that badges change and shirt numbers change depending on what league you are if you get promoted or relegated. Now, this has always been something that bugs me incredibly, and a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of you will agree, it's always been something that just grinds my gears. It really grinds my gears. However, that is now gone with FIFA 19. That has been sorted out as the beta showed, as the leaks from the beta showed, albeit it was a bit glitchy in the beta because it was only covering the original sleeve badge, and it was a bit glitched. So they probably have sorted that out. I hope they have anyway. So basically, when you say, I don't know, obviously I did Sunderland career mode on here. When I went from the Championship to the Premier League, on FIFA 19 when that happens, you'll go from the EFL kit numbers, which are distinctly different from the Premier League ones, and you'll now get the Premier League ones. You get the Premier League badge on your shirt. I would hope anyway, that if you win the league, if you win the Premier League for example, you get the golden badge, the golden Premier League badge. I'd like to think that's on there as well. And that's it's such a small little thing, but it's literally things like that. It's just a little thing that makes it a bit more authentic and makes it feel a bit more realistic. And that's something that in particular, this is obviously all down to different people and what tastes you have. But for me, I want it as authentic and realistic as possible. And it always did irk me whenever you'd get a team from the EFL into the Premier League and the sleeve badge stays the same. So that's a nice little thing, and I'm happy they did that. However, it doesn't excuse the fact they've been piss off lazy with career mode. However, we said no negativity, so we're going to stop right there and move on to number 4. Now, this is something that actually, in a way, it's got a slightly different look to it, but has been taken from PES, and this is one of the major gameplay features, of course, and that's the new tactics system. Now, on FIFA 19, instead of the way it was, you can now sort of play your team your way, which in career mode might be imperatively important. If you want to go Sam Allardyce 4-4-2 shithouse victories, you can now set your team up to play that sort of way. Whereas if you're more like Klopp, or you want to keep the ball, you want to press, you can now set it that way. And that's something that PES has had. You can set 4 different tactics, and you can turn them on and off in game. So, for example, you could have, I don't know, on PES I always used to go tiki-taka. I always had attacking fullbacks, and then I also had gegenpress. That I only used throughout the 4. Essentially, when, say, you're winning 1-0 and you don't really want to push too much, I'd turn off attacking fullbacks. Say you didn't want, maybe your team are getting a bit knackered at the end of the game, you can turn off gegenpress, which is, by the way, it's like that really hard pressing, that sort of like what Klopp did with Dortmund, where as soon as they lose a ball, there's at least 3 or 4 players going at the player with it to try and win it back, just for context. And this is something that I do like. I like the idea of. It certainly means more than the what they've got now, which is you can't really do much. You can say, okay, I want to play possession game, but it doesn't really have much of an impact on you. As well as that, the all-out defence to all-out attack function, it doesn't really make. I don't know about anyone else, but I don't think it makes any difference unless you go from balance to all-out attack, or from balance to part of the bus, essentially. And it's never the ones in between have always felt irrelevant, unnecessary. They don't really do much. So I'm happy that they've changed it about, and I'm looking forward to using it and seeing how it works. For me, again, on career mode, it gives a little bit more realism. You can go in there and say, this is how we're going to play. I don't know how that will impact the squad. I don't know, because on PES Master League, I always remember that if you went in and you completely changed the tactics, the formation, say you went to, I don't know, like Burnley, for example, who play a certain pragmatic way, and you go in there and you go 4-2-3-1, keeping the ball, playing tiki-taka football, they won't like it, or they take time to get used to it. I don't know if that's going to be the same in FIFA. I'd hope it is, because if you go to a club who have been playing one way and you completely change it, you're not just going to go instantly, oh, there you go, you're brilliant. So hopefully it works like that as well. And that overall is a decent little gameplay feature. I'm very happy with that, it must be said. I'll be honest with you, I picked five things because I thought it was relatively low and realistic that I could think of 5 things. off the top of my head. And it turns out I couldn't. So, for number 5, we're taking a bit of a cheap shot. And the 5th thing I want to mention that is good about FIFA 19 is the fact the journey is finishing. Thank fuck for that. Can't stand the journey, and I don't. It's not the sense that it's bad to play. The reason I can't stand it is because I know for a fact it has impacted career mode, and I just hate that. The journey has, through FIFA 17 and 18, been no better than alright. It's quite. You start it and then it gets a bit boring, gets a bit repetitive. Yep, you play about five or six fairly short games. Something happens that's relatively meh. It's okay, it's a bit important. And then you play another 5 or 6 games, then something else happens and you're like, okay. And it's never been, for me, it hasn't justified itself as being a good inclusion into career mode yet. And I don't think it will in FIFA 19, considering it is ending. And I really like the fact it's ending, and I hope to God they stick away from stories. Not that, again, it's okay. I'm not saying Journey was awful, but it's not worth the time. I think people would rather, instead of having a good story on a FIFA game, they'd rather have good career mode, good pro clubs, good ultimate team. Have those 3 modes. That's a good little trident, that is. I know they only care about ultimate team for money, but if they decided to actually give a shit about the game as a whole, they have 3 really good modes, and it's kind of like a shooter. When you think about it, if you think about a normal sort of first-person shooter, I know Call of Duty's doing it a bit different, but you're often in the history of Call of Duty, and I'm sure we will in the future, we get the campaign, which is for single player, which has a lot of time spent on it, despite the fact they've got no money value from it. They don't get any more money in microtransactions from it. It's only played for a few hours, and then it's moved on. But they still make a brilliant career campaign mode, and there's something there for single player people who maybe want to play it the first time through for a story, and then go through for achievements and trophies, and yada yada yada. You then get the multiplayer, and then you get like the 3rd mode, which in Call of Duty is the example we're using, so zombies. FIFA have a very, very good little trilogy of modes, all for different people, all for different things. You've got career mode, which can be the main single player thing. Ultimate Team, which is sort of like the multiplayer. I don't know whether it would be the multiplayer or not. It's for everyone, essentially. It's for a mix of people, if you want to play online, if you want to play multiplayer, if you want to just make your own team and imagine shit. And then obviously that's a cash cow as well. That's where EA can make a lot of money. And then pro clubs as well, which can be the sort of like the multiplayer mode. I think they've got 3 decent modes there, and as soon as they bring the journey off, I hope that they sort of stick to that sort of thing. Have things like tournament and kickoff, of course, on the side, as always, but have the 3 main modes and just focus on them, specifically career mode and pro clubs, because I think they're in more desperation of features than Ultimate Team is. So hopefully the end of the journey and the fact that FIFA 19 is the last time we'll ever see the journey will be a good thing for FIFA as a whole. They tried it, it didn't really work. They tried it for 3 years, which was just stupid. We move on now, and hopefully, like I say, FIFA will benefit, and the fact that FIFA 19 will be the last bit of the journey, I can't help but be very happy about that. Anyway, that's 5 things that are good about FIFA 19. 5 good new things, or 5 just good things in general about FIFA 19, because all we've been doing is complaining about it, and I thought, like I said at the start, ray of sunshine. I know the last one technically is kind of, it's an indirect complaint, but I just can't help myself. Fuck you, EA. So yeah, if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe. FIFA 19 comes out at the end of the month. There'll be FIFA 19 content, of course. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video for whatever reason, or you agreed with anything I said, leave a like. And yeah, I'll see you in another video. Did that go in? No, it didn't. That would have been a good goal, wouldn't it? Anyway, getting distracted. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Goodbye.